Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Hayden.
And this is
Until the End of Crime. I'm looking at your background, and it kind of looks like the background of a cruise ship to me. Mm-hmm. Like a ballroom on a cruise ship.
So you think that there is a cruise ship behind me? It's giving that
I mean,
vibe.
It kind of looks like cruise. Can you move your head? It's kind of looking cruise shippy, but it looks kind of maybe like there's an escalator at the back left corner for me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's almost also like it's trying to be elegant, but it might not be like a faux elegance, not true elegance, maybe like even a shopping area. I'm not sure. There's a lot of possibilities.
Well, you're trying to dive right in. We're going to take a little bit of a detour at the start of this episode, everybody. So apologies, our intros are not typically this long. This is your first episode. Maybe start with a different one and then
There's no way this is your
back.
first episode.
Some people.
Do you think so?
Yes, because some of the episodes that we have are downloaded substantially less than others. So if this just happens to be one that hits, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Well, welcome. Yeah, Jinx, welcome. If you're new, welcome. Welcome, and then go tell your friend to also listen and download.
Yes. If this isn't your first episode and you have tuned in the last couple weeks, you probably noticed that the audio was subpar.
Choppy.
It was
unpredictable.
It was echoey.
Sometimes almost tinny or
Yeah.
like weirdly distant.
Yeah. And it was primarily, if not entirely, Hayden's audio that recorded that way for at least the first half of the episode because the cord that he was using was not great. And so he swapped out the cords and a lot of the issues seemed to resolve after that point. But hopefully we have figured out the audio issues and that's not going to be a thing again moving forward.
Today I'm using a brand new mic. I am using a very nice high quality cable that is capable of intensive data relay. And so hopefully those two things together means that my audio quality will be bomb. Just fantastic.
He sounds great to me, and last week he sounded very fuzzy to me. So I'm hoping that this is a promising shift. Mm-hmm. But also, if you listened to last week's episode, I think twice I brought up that when I was a student at UT Austin, which in the last episode we talked about the UT Austin mass murder that happened in '66. Which was maybe 80 years ago, but possibly 59.
It's a wide range. It is a wide range of possibility. Neither of us knows how to use a calculator. So there's just so much that we're missing. But yeah, Charles Whitman and the Watchtower.
Yeah. So
is it a bell tower too? Does it have bells?
I don't think it has bells.
Okay, my dear listeners, I'm so sorry. Last week I called it a bell tower and a watchtower interchangeably because where I went to school for undergrad had a bell tower, not a watchtower.
That's fair. So I mentioned twice that when I was a student at UT Austin that there was a shooting that happened on campus. And I said that I was going to circle back and tell that story at the end of the episode, and I did not. So for anyone who cares, when I was a student, I was living off campus. I drove about half an hour, 45 minutes to get to campus because Austin traffic, as you'll maybe remember from last week's episode, is atrocious.
Or if you've ever met me in person and asked me about my job in hospice, you would have heard how awful the traffic in Austin is.
Yeah. So I was driving, and so I didn't have my phone volume on or anything. I had an old LG flip phone, I think, at the time. And when I got to campus, I noticed that there weren't as many cars parked in the lot that I parked in, which was next to the baseball field. But I did see people waiting at the bus stop for the, I want to say it was like the East Campus bus. And when I got to the school, I was like, sweet, good parking spot. Why is it so empty? And I checked my phone and I had several messages, maybe phone calls, but people had been contacting me because they were letting me know that there was somebody on campus with a gun. And obviously they're just trying to touch base to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm safe, that I'm aware of what's going on. And so I remember this as clear as day. I walked over to the bus stop and I told the people that were sitting there, hey, there's a guy on campus with a gun. So campus is locked down, it's closed. And they just turned and looked at me so dead face. One of them was like, well, I have a test today. And I was like, sure, okay. So I left. And I just went to work early that day because campus was closed. Classes were canceled. But unfortunately, he did shoot somebody, but the only person he shot was himself. But he did it in the library on campus. So, and
was
people
it a
who
fatal
had...
shooting?
Yes, it was fatal.
Okay.
I want to say that it was like a sawed-off shotgun that he self-inflicted with, but people who had seen him walking along campus said that he was looking at them and he was smiling and he was acting like he was really happy. He wasn't necessarily pointing the gun at anyone, but yeah, then he went in, I think he went up to maybe the 6th floor of the library and took his life. So that was my personal experience with a shooter on campus when I was a student at UT.
Well, I hate that.
Yeah, not how we typically start these episodes.
To the lady, gentleman, they'dy, or them, I don't know, who really needed to get to their test that day. I hope that worked out for them in a meaningful way.
That was so insane to me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I guess you can hang out here. I'm going to get back into my metal machine and leave this place.
Yeah,
the buses weren't running.
I can't imagine deciding that I needed to take a test more than I needed to protect my life. But I don't know if I've ever had ambitions big enough to push me that far. So I assume this person was ambitious. I think they're probably doing so much better than we are.
Yes.
At least financially. Who could be doing better than us in mental and physical health? I don't know. We're the pictures of absolute health. So
mental, physical, financial, psychological.
Yeah. So I will say this, that person was not well adjusted. If that one decision is any kind of indicator, testing is more important than avoiding being shot, okay.
It's like when Ron told Hermione, you really need to sort out your priorities.
Yeah, very that. I think about how the library, to me, feels like such a safe place, such a quiet place, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's hallowed ground, but, there's a kind of respect that I have for it that's akin to that. And obviously, there were real mental and emotional problems happening with this. It was a young man, I assume.
Yes, and he lived at home. He wasn't living on campus. He was living at home in Austin with his parents.
Yeah.
So
to decide to go to the library, and it feels like a strong word, but essentially desecrate such a safe space. Mm-hmm. In your final act? I don't know. Was there any kind of manifesto? Was there anything? Did anyone ever talk about him being mentally ill? Do we know anything about him?
I don't think so. I just think that everyone was really relieved that no one else was harmed.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people who want to harm themselves also want to harm others before they go.
Well, and there's no repercussions after you kill yourself.
Right. I'm also thinking, though, you're saying that you felt the library was a safe space, and maybe he felt that as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then I'm also thinking about how the library is notoriously known for being quiet, and I can't imagine that any type of gun was going to be...
Any firearm runs contrary to the entire vibe, the intent, the purpose of a library.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here and unpack metaphorical, allegorical connections between suicide by firearm and a library and the different things that could symbolize. I doubt it was that deep, but it does feel like an intentional decision.
Yeah, I just don't know that, because this is me following up on something that I said I was going to say in the last episode, if it's even worth spending too much time talking about it. I just said I was going to share it, so I shared my anecdote.
We're famous for our brevity, so it makes sense that we'd be able to get through it so quickly.
Famous. Ah, yes, the fame.
The fame monster
goes to my
turning
head.
us out. Turning us out.
Let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about
Did we accept the interview with Diane Sawyer? Are we still going on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah?
Yes, but they've pushed us back to the following Sunday.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to shift
But
to
we're still
talk
on for
about-
The View this week, right? We're going to New
Hayden.
York on Wednesday.
We are going to New York is crazy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop making jokes. Please go ahead.
All right, Hayden, we have some exciting updates about the future of this podcast that you refused to share with the listeners on the last episode. So we're going to do that now. Throughout August, I am going to be telling the cases, and we're going to release episodes every other Tuesday. So almost like we're just skipping the cases that you would be telling. But in September, we're going to go back to alternating cases, but we will still keep the same release schedule. So we're going to shift to releasing episodes every other Tuesday for the foreseeable future. We feel like transitioning back into work has affected the quality of the episodes we've been producing, and it's been a lot to try to work at new jobs and also turn out weekly episodes. And so this option for right now feels more sustainable because we enjoy doing this and we enjoy recording ourselves speak nonsense into microphones and getting to share our friendship with you. So this gives us each more time to research and write cases, and it gives me more time to edit because we want to feel good about putting our names on this, and we want to bring you the best that we have to offer.
Exciting news. Cameron it was a great lead into exciting news. I think, of course, besties, did we want to necessarily move to an alternating or to a skipping schedule where we do so many releases a month compared to the past? Not necessarily. But like Cameron said, work has made doing this more complicated. And so to give you some kind of personal perspective,
I was going to say work, and also now we're operating with a 6-hour time difference, which we should acknowledge does play into some of this.
Of course, yeah. Cameron is 6 hours ahead of me, which is incredibly unideal. What would be the antonym to ideal? It is detrimental to our ability to work together. She is a morning person. I am an evening person, afternoon person. And so getting up at 8, 9, even 10 a.m. on a weekend day really sucks to me. I hate it. And so
I was grateful that Jenny let me sleep in until almost 6 o'clock this morning because yesterday it was 3 o'clock.
Which again would be midnight my time. We are working with a bit of a time difference. And most of you know I am a clinical therapist. I'm a licensed master social worker. I'm working towards getting my full clinical license, and that requires 3,000 practice hours. It requires 100 supervision hours. It requires just a lot of work and a lot of effort. And I also have taken a job now where I do clinical therapy all day. And there are times when I run intensive outpatient groups. I run partial hospitalization groups. There are some weeks where I work upwards of 50 hours a week. And so it is very difficult to find time to put into developing content for you, which isn't to say that I don't want to. But Cameron's right. There are times when I feel like the quality has suffered, and that's not what we want to give to you all.
No, not at all.
So thanks for bearing with us and for allowing us to make this transition gracefully, honestly, and with intention. Because now I think we have the ability to bring you something even better, even if it's less.
Yes, it's about quality, not quantity. And this is maybe temporary. We're just going to kind of see how it goes. And maybe we decide that we shift back to weekly, or we just reassess what this looks like for us. But we just wanted to give you a heads up. And then in other cool news, I woke up to a text message from Hayden that said that somebody from a case that we covered reached out after somebody shared the episode with them. They said that we did a good job covering the case. They gave us some additional tea that had not been available to us when we researched the case, and wished us luck with the podcast, which was very cool. We are opting to not name them out of respect for their privacy. We don't want to compromise their safety or peace in any way. But thank you for sharing the episode with them, whoever you are. That helps us so much. That was just very cool.
Yeah, it was very cool to receive feedback from someone who had a lived experience with the subject matter we cover, and to feel that we did so in a way that was at the very least respectful of them, and enough so that they felt like providing validation to us, which is more than we could ask for. And so we really, really appreciate it. And anytime you want to share our stories with someone who you feel like is connected to the material, you have our blessing. And anyone, please let us know what you think.
And more people that we appreciate are our 5 patrons who have joined us for $2 a month, which just helps offset some of the costs that go into producing this podcast. We really do this because we enjoy it, and it's not really a huge business endeavor for either of us, but it does have some expenses that come along with it. So we just want to shout out Rebecca, Mary Jane, Taylor, Rowan, and Sydney for their support. That's all the business talk that I have jotted down for now. Should we get into the actual episode?
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I put a timestamp in the show notes. Hayden, you mentioned that this looks like possibly a cruise ship behind me, or someplace that looks like it's trying to be glitzy and glamorous.
Like
more
a,
so
a,
than...
a gaudy shopping experience.
Okay, so this is actually a hotel lobby. So I want to know, what is your favorite part about staying in a hotel?
I love when I stay at a hotel to see the bed so tightly made, and then I just kind of barely squeeze in under the sheets, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm so tucked. And I love it. I love the feeling of like these, what I hope are clean sheets, which usually seem like clean sheets. And there's always something about them that feels so cool against my skin. Like, I don't think I've ever hopped into a set of hospital sheets. I don't think I've ever hopped into hotel sheets that weren't cool against my skin.
Well, and to be fair, hospitals are kept very cold, so probably not there either.
Yeah, and it feels so clean. It's also a space I don't really have to worry about. Like, there's something freeing about staying in a hotel. I love all of the free shampoos and soaps, especially if it's a nice hotel. Take me to the, what are some of the higher class middle tier hotels? Because that's where I go. Oh, the Marriott. Take me to the Marriott. Marriott Bonvoy.
Is the DoubleTree the one where they put a cookie on your, like you get a cookie? Somewhere you get a cookie.
I don't know. I know that I think one does like mints, like the little Andes mints.
I think it's the DoubleTree. Listeners, if you know, reach out.
What's your favorite hotel? What's your favorite hotel to stay in? Not hospital, but if you have one of those, please go for it.
Yeah.
Write in. Tell us. What's your favorite part about staying in a hotel? Being in France in the middle of a heat wave?
Oh, God, yeah. Years ago. That was crazy. It was like 90 degrees when we were there, and that wasn't even the hottest that it got. I mean, it got so hot people were dying. I mean, I like staying in a hotel because usually that means I'm on vacation.
And even if you're not on vacation, it kind of feels like a mini vacation.
Yeah. I also like change. So, yeah, to me, it's never been like super important. I've never been a person who has like a really strong attachment to my bed. Like, I know that there are people who would rather sleep in their own bed than anywhere else. There are some people who refuse to sleep anywhere other than their own beds. And that has not really been me. And so, I don't know, I just kind of like being on a different mattress with different pillows sometimes.
I can tell you I'm never staying the night at someone else's home. There are too many variables I can't account for. No, I'm not doing that. I'm either going to be in my bed at my house or I'm in a hotel. I will not be staying at anyone else's home.
Or you're on a cruise ship.
Or I'm on a cruise ship, sure. But anything else, sorry, I'm not staying at your house. I'm sure your house is lovely. I'm sure you have lovely beds. I'm sure you have lovely bedding. I don't like it. I want to have full autonomy in the space that I'm existing in. So my hotel room, my stateroom, my bedroom, I am the master of my experience.
That's a really good point, because I too am not crazy about staying at somebody else's house because I don't feel like I can just move about in a way that feels non-intrusive. Like if in the middle of the night I wake up and I'm like, oh, I want a glass of water, do I feel like I can just go in the kitchen? Is the kitchen located in close proximity to where somebody else is sleeping? Do I want to go and bother somebody? Do they have animals that I'm going to disturb that are going to make noises at me? Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I say that anyone is welcome to stay with me anytime. That's no big deal. But
right, same.
But I'm not going to stay with you. Sorry.
That's so funny. But see, I also make sure, like, you used my hall bathroom quite a bit when we were recording in person at my house. And in my little cabinet that had glass window so you could see in there, you could get Q-tips, you could get like a bamboo toothbrush that was pre-pasted, you could get
soap,
lots of soap,
tampons. Were there tampons in there? Feminine products?
I believe there were feminine products in there. There was acetaminophen, there was
Tums
antacids
that tasted like soap.
like the soap, because look, I made the adjustment, okay? I fixed it. It's because the soap was very strongly scented, and being closed in that cabinet, it infused.
Fragrance.
Yeah.
It was intense.
What else? Oh, there were makeup removing wipes.
Yes.
I was trying to make it so that if anybody needed anything, they didn't feel like they had to ask me or be inconvenienced for any period of time in order to satisfy that need. And so, yeah, people were always welcome to stay with me. It's not to say that I won't stay at somebody else's place. I definitely will. But I don't enjoy that feeling of not being in a space that I feel like I can get up early in the morning when I typically get up and just kind of doing whatever it is that I want to do. I always feel like it's me waiting around for other people to get up, and then you're having to kind of take their lead on what you're doing next.
I want to turn on whatever TV I want, whenever I want, at whatever volume I want. I want to use the bathroom and flush without thinking I'm going to wake somebody up. I want to let my dog out at 3 a.m. and not have it be a problem. So
I want my dog to sleep through 3 a.m., Jenny. All right, should we get into this? I'm sure that we've already been recording for an hour.
You mean 49 minutes and 9 seconds?
We haven't even started.
We know shit's happening in a hotel.
Okay, an announcement was made in February of 1928. Would you like to explain the face that you just made?
Most people can't see me. Okay, here we go. Another old-timey-wimey crimey story.
You think?
Well, I assume.
You assume.
1928.
An announcement was made that
nearly 100 years ago.
Oh my God. That the intersection of 8th Avenue and 34th Street would soon become the home of a hotel in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of Manhattan in New York City. It would become the second tallest hotel in the city after the Ritz, and would join the Chrysler and Empire State Buildings as another Art Deco stylized building popular of the time. The New Yorker today is 42 stories high with 4 basement levels, and it was estimated that it would cost $8 million to build. Is that bird on your end or on my end?
That's on my end. They are cackling like crazy.
I'm so glad that you and Andrew spent time soundproofing the room, and that he then spent time reinforcing the soundproofing. Because between him moving dining room chairs and your new pet bird outside...
There's so many cawing right now.
Okay.
They sometimes go at the same time.
I can hear them.
Oh my God. What do we do?
I think we either just roll right through it and let it happen, or you can mute yourself until you have something to say while I'm telling the case.
Okay, I think I'll try that.
It had over 2,500 guest rooms, and the day of the grand opening of the New Yorker, over 800 people checked into the hotel, January 2nd, 1930.
1930. Most of these guests took home souvenirs to commemorate the opening of what was slated to become an iconic addition to the New York City skyline, which ended up likely leaving it one of the highest losses of a hotel opening. I'm not sure if you've done the math on this yet, but something major happened in 1929 that might have caused some issues for the opening of a new business, a huge hotel. Any ideas
The rise of fascism.
Any ideas what that could have been?
It sounds like it rhymes with Schmeich but that's a rough rhyme.
Why, it was the Great Depression, of course. Who wrote this? Me.
Why, it was the Great Depression.
So if I've cut the part where Hayden's muting himself and all of his birds right now, I sound crazy because I'm making a joke at myself and he's laughing, but you can't hear him laughing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I actually think that we may just have to say we've got birds in the background today and move on. Yeah.
Well, y'all, there's some fucking grackles, crackles. Maybe they're cardinals. I don't know. I don't know bird calls, but they are getting after it.
They're not cardinals.
Swallows.
Oh, no.
Dovetails, doves, white-winged doves, pigeons.
This episode
bagels,
is a mess.
I mean seagulls. So stupid. Why would I say bagels?
I don't know. Seagulls fly by my flat every morning. Well, pretty much all day long.
See, they're on the bay.
I'm not anywhere near a bay.
You're on a big fucking island in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. Okay.
You need to stay on task.
During the hotel's early years, it remained largely empty. By 1941, the hotel had hosted around 3 million guests, which sounds like a lot, but for a hotel with over 2,500 rooms, that's less than 825 guests annually.
This is giving me American Horror Story Hotel, where like the hotel owner or whatever had like secret rooms and he killed and tortured people. Does that happen here?
Is that where this goes? You'll just have to listen.
Oh, the bird stopped.
Yeah. But the New Yorker Hotel persevered and remained open until April 19th, 1972, when it was closed and attempted to be converted into a hospital. This hotel-to-hospital conversion was unsuccessful. So instead, the the Unification Church of the United States purchased the building in 1976 and used it as global headquarters for some time. On June 1st, 1994, the top floors of the hotel were reopened as a hotel, and other spaces on lower floors and in the basement are able to be rented out or are occupied by restaurants and other businesses. At this point, the hotel boasts 1,083 hotel rooms. The New Yorker Hotel has hosted some notable people, and at one point was the headquarters for the Major League Baseball's National League. It housed the Brooklyn Dodgers during the 1941 World Series. J. Edgar Hoover was featured in an ad for the hotel. Spencer Tracy, Joan Crawford, Muhammad Ali, John F. Kennedy, and Fidel Castro have all spent time at the New Yorker. During the final decade of his life, Nikola Tesla lived in room 3327. And then, in June 2018, Mickey Barreto and Matthew Hannon entered the New Yorker Hotel. Mickey paid $200.57 to stay in one of the landmark's rooms, and then he didn't leave. Mickey was born in Brazil and moved to California in the 90s to attend university. He ended up in the Los Angeles area, probably West Hollywood, and he lived there until 2018. I'm not sure when or where he met his boyfriend, but 2018 is when he opted to move to New York, where I believe Matthew Hannon, I think that was his boyfriend at the time, either lived or was relocating to. That's unclear. But Mickey apparently loved himself a good conspiracy theory and claimed that he had founded a tribe in Brazil that he is the leader of. So he's really a man who wears many hats.
a man who has many dreams, unfulfilled, make believe.
Maybe. Upon his arrival, as I mentioned, he booked and paid for one night and was given the key to room 2565. The room faced an exterior wall of the hotel, but also overlooked Midtown Manhattan. Mickey did not end up at this iconic hotel by accident. He had been told by Matthew about a rent stabilization law regarding buildings that had been constructed prior to 1969, where paying to rent an individual room within a building guaranteed tenants' rights to the person renting the room, starting with the right to a 6-month lease, which is what Mickey cited the morning after he paid to stay at the hotel when he requested his due 6-month lease to reside at the hotel. The hotel was like, no, and promptly kicked him out. He had left his belongings in the room, which they gathered and returned to him. The following day, he went to court. After the lawyers for the hotel failed to appear, the judge ruled by default in Mickey's favor, and the New Yorker was ordered to give him a key. Despite losing the case, the hotel refused to negotiate the terms of a lease with Mickey. So, he stayed in the hotel for the remainder of 2018. So just to explain a little bit, because I don't think I explained this anywhere in here, this law is for buildings built before 1969, where a building has been subdivided into individual letting rooms, which is, a hotel. And if somebody stays there for a night, they are guaranteed tenants' rights, and they can request a 6-month contract to be issued, a lease, basically, that is a negotiated price that is less than the nightly price that a hotel would ordinarily be receiving for that room. So the hotel was like, no, we're not going to negotiate a lease with you, but he paid for the one night, and then once they were ordered by the judge to give him a key, he didn't pay the hotel rate, and they didn't issue a lease for him.
Did he pay anything?
He stayed in the hotel throughout 2019. He stayed in the hotel throughout all of 2020, which I guess there are worse places you could have quarantined. He stayed in the hotel throughout 2021, 2022, and for the first 7 months of 2023. He knew that despite never paying more than the $200.57 for the initial night, that the hotel didn't want to go through the hassle of trying to have him removed from the premises. They couldn't evict him, but they refused to entertain his request for a lease.
Okay, talk about cutting your nose off despite your face. My God.
Yeah, it was a choice, because at some point it's like, well, we're not getting any money out of him, so we may as well do a lease and get
This is just a
something.
free room. Did they not try to kick him out again after that? Like, they just said, no, you can live here.
Yeah, because he had already gone to court, and so I think that they knew that no matter what they did, they were going to be fighting. But it's just like, I don't know. I imagine that hotels, it's operated by Wyndham, and it's owned by Unification Church of the United States. So you have to imagine that between those two, somebody has an attorney on standby, or that they could call to fight this, because there's no, whatever. I don't know. They made a weird choice, if you're asking me. Not that anybody did.
I don't need to ask. It's a weird fucking choice. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So, all that to say, Mickey was no dummy. He wasn't just living at the New Yorker without taking advantage of his situation, which is why in May 2019, he filed paperwork using the New York City Department of Finance's Automated City Register Information System, or ACRIS, in which he claimed that he owned the New Yorker hotel. Well, he claimed that the ownership of the hotel was being transferred to him. He did this by uploading a deed saying that the Holy Spirit Association of the Unification of World Christianity was submitting a transfer of ownership to Mickey Barreto, disregarding the fact that the deed was fraudulent.
Nice.
So at this point, as far as Mickey was concerned, he was the rightful and true owner of the New Yorker hotel.
This dude is wild.
He requested or demanded rent from one of the hotel restaurant tenants called TikTok with the C's. He registered the hotel under his name with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection for water and sewage payments, which he did in order to gain access to the hotel's banking information. He also demanded of the hotel that they transfer the hotel bank accounts into his name.
I don't even have words for this.
Okay, here's really the tea. I was looking at the list of our most recent episodes. So we have had a lot of murder. A lot of just really dark murder missing.
Another murder.
We did the UT Austin shooting, the murder of Honora Parker, death at Lady Bird Lake, the probable murder of Marsha P. Johnson, the Alpine Manor where the two women were killing people, the assault and murder of Maria Cotto, Will Hendrick, who I think was probably murdered, the murder of Carol Rosenbaum, Giovanni Colon Gonzalez, who is missing, Elizabeth Dyer Chantrell, who was murdered by her husband, Rachel Cook, who is missing, Ginny Haynes, who unspeakable. But I mean, we've been murder for a while. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit.
No, I like it. I don't know what to say because this fucker is just really trying it, but
yeah. So additionally, he created Mickey Barreto Missions and then filed to have the ownership of the hotel transferred from his own name to that of this organization that he created. My best guess is that Missions looks like it would be a religious affiliate and that it would look more legitimate if the Unification Church transferred ownership to Mickey Barreto Missions. But nothing is more legitimate when the documents you're filing are fake. So someone should have probably told him that. In this old timey-wimey podcast episode, in 2021, he filed another document that transferred the ownership of Mickey Barreto Missions to Mickey Barreto Missions. No, that wasn't erroneous on my part.
Was it a new organization?
No, I don't know. He instructed the Holy Spirit Association, who had so graciously deeded him the hotel, albeit unbeknownst to themselves, to vacate the premises and to make sure that they had all the hotel tenants' rent be paid to him. And he contacted Wyndham, the franchisor that was operating the hotel, and began the discussion with them about getting the franchise switched over to his name. I'm not sure exactly when he did this, but he called the New York City Fire Department at one point and, claiming himself to be the owner, had them come and evacuate the building.
Oh my God. Don't you know he thought he was a mastermind?
I'm going to hold my retort for a bit. So I don't know why he did this, but it would be futile to try to make sense of all the decisions Mickey made during his tenure at the New Yorker hotel. In 2019, the true legal hotel owner filed a lawsuit against Mickey with the New York Supreme Court, and their suit was successful in barring him from two things: further filing fake paperwork and claiming himself to be the hotel owner. Of course, you know that the next step was
Mickey filing more fake paperwork?
For Mickey to appeal the ruling.
Okay.
He filed an appeal. That was real.
Okay.
The decision was upheld. If they even accepted the appeal, it was unsuccessful. But Mickey was like, and continued to represent himself as the owner of the hotel, including on his LinkedIn profile.
Okay, good for Mickey.
This was a violation of the court's order, though. Per Mickey's argument in court, he owned the whole hotel because it had not been subdivided after the judge that had ruled in his favor by default had ordered the hotel to give him a key and permit him back into a room, thereby indirectly granting him ownership of the entire building.
And what was the legal response to that?
In April 2023, he even more egregiously violated the court's ruling by filing fraudulent documents with Acris. And again, he did the same in September 2023. On at least one of these occasions, he had filed yet another fake deed that alleged the ownership of the hotel was being transferred to him. One source I read said that he lived at the hotel until July 2023, but was still filing false documents regarding his rightful ownership of the hotel after that.
What finally led to him being ousted from the hotel?
I'm not sure. It's not exactly clear where he lived after moving out of there. I would guess with Matthew, but there was nothing confirming this. And I'm assuming it was still Matthew that was his boyfriend. But Matthew's apartment was mentioned as, quote, quote, his boyfriend's apartment in the sources that I found that spoke about it.
I don't imagine that he left willingly.
I think he did. I think that's the only thing that makes sense, really. But
Yeah.
on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, 48-year-old Mickey was spending Valentine's Day at his boyfriend's apartment when the police, armed with guns and bulletproof shields, showed up.
Feels like a lot.
Mickey was excited for a moment.
Was Mickey packing? Did he have guns?
No, he thought this was some romantic stunt that his boyfriend was putting on for him,
Oh, Mickey.
but realized that it was not his boyfriend spicing things up when he saw the female officers in the mix.
Ah, yes, that'll do it.
I'm sure you often see police and think that that's Andrew setting things up for, I don't know.
That's Andrew setting me up for a heart attack because I get so freaked out when I get pulled over.
So you don't assume that it's him, putting some moves on you.
No, I actually got pulled over yesterday with Andrew in the car. And he had been telling me all day to slow down. And I was like, okay. Did I slow down? No.
Not until the lights flashed behind you.
Did I get clocked going 80 in a 65? Yes.
Yeah.
So
You shouldn't be going more than 72 in a 65 because that's 10% over. And up to 10% is pretty much a warning.
Well, I did not get a warning. I received a citation.
Oh.
But what I did appreciate about the experience is he didn't ask me, do you know what you did wrong? Blah, blah, blah. He walked up to my window and he was like, you were going 80 in a 65. And I said, oh. And he was like, I need your license.
Cut and dry.
And then he left. He wrote my ticket. He came back and he was like, you can pay it here. Website works. Or you can appear before the judge. And I was like, party on. I like not having to sit here and fuck around and... Because I'm not ever going to tell you that
Right.
I was doing something wrong.
To entertain you because
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm always going to say, I thought I was going the speed limit.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't. I mean, I guess some people, some officers, when they pull you over, they're going to just see how you respond and decide in the interaction if they're going to cite you or not. But some of them, it's not going to matter. So you may as well just do the thing and then move on.
It was probably the fastest ticket experience I've ever had.
Have you had a lot?
When I was younger, I got one of the letters that said if I had any more traffic infractions, I would lose my license.
Oh my God.
I think I had like 7 tickets in 2 years. But no, I haven't had a ticket issue like that. I think I've had 1 ticket since I graduated college. And then in the last year, I've got 2 tickets. So it seems like maybe some dangerous patterns have reemerged. I might need to put them on pause. I think this is such a digression. I think that working in hospice and having to travel from place to place and what a miserable experience that was every day led me to develop unhealthy traffic behaviors because I get so frustrated now. Even by like the slightest inconvenience while I'm driving, I'm like, fuck this. I hate driving. And so I've got a little bit of work to do.
I haven't driven since April.
That sounds nice.
Okay, well, let's divert away from your criminal behavior and get back to Mickey.
I wouldn't say criminal per se. I would say moderately reckless.
Is that in violation of the law?
I don't care. I'm still not going to refer to my behavior as criminal.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm going to call a spade a spade. So, Mickey was arrested and charged with 14 counts of offering a false instrument for filing in the first degree and 10 counts of criminal contempt in the second degree. Surprisingly, Mickey did not agree that he should be facing criminal charges. As far as he was concerned, this was a civil matter. Look, you and Mickey have that in common.
Mickey is wild.
Up until his arrest on February 14th, Mickey had always represented himself in court. But he did obtain a criminal defense attorney after the criminal charges were brought against him, probably using money that he saved by living in a hotel rent-free for 5 years.
Yeah.
One source I read stated that Mickey skirted thousands of dollars in rent by exploiting this quirky legal loophole. And that sounded really low to me, so I did the math. For a studio apartment in Hell's Kitchen in 2018, which is similar to what a hotel is, especially if it has like a kitchenette in it, you could expect a monthly payment for a studio apartment, a monthly payment of $3,660.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Over 60 months, that would add up to $219,600. So really, Mickey saved himself $219,400.
Nearly $250,000. Alexa, do not disturb.
I won't disturb you.
But Mickey said, I never intended to commit any fraud. I don't believe I ever committed any fraud, and I never made a penny out of this.
Did he thought he was just being creative?
By living in this hotel, he saved nearly the cost of a 2022 small house in South Texas, as I know firsthand. Yeah. But he didn't make a penny out of this. Okay. He also claimed that by refusing to pay or move, he was taking a stand against the Unification Church by denying them profits as a form of activism. Often the host of mass weddings, the church has faced legal battles over the methods it uses to recruit, and some people are less than pleased with the positive relationship the church seems to have with North Korea.
Okay. Interesting.
I want to say that the church, like, not the ownership of this building was the inception of the church, but that this church is from maybe North Korea. I'm not exactly sure, but it was from a country in Asia, but I didn't include that in here. So, you know what I want to know? What would be the drinking game listening to this podcast? Like, what are the things that you do or say, or that I do or say, that would make this a drinking game?
Either of us engages in some form of ADHD activity, digressions, I don't know.
They rung strong in this episode, but if you want to hear an episode where I tried to cut out as much ADHD as I possibly could, throw back to Maud Crawford. There was a lot of ADHD going on that day for me.
Yeah.
So
there's been a lot of it across the episodes.
Yeah. All right. Mickey claimed that his one phone call that he was permitted after his arrest was to the White House, disclosing his location to them.
Who at the White House gives a fuck?
Mickey also claims he is a direct descendant of Christopher Columbus. So I guess this is in line with his ancestral legacy.
Yeah, taking things that don't belong to him.
Stolen land, so to speak, right? In the meantime.
This guy he's just lies to lie.
Does he?
Yeah, it seems like it.
Oh, well, hold that thought for about 7 more seconds. In the meantime, Mickey had been possibly required to seek treatment for substance use disorder and mental health issues. I say possibly required because he said in one source that the prosecution believes they finally convinced him to seek treatment. According to Mickey, the prosecution was calling his partying a drug problem, but he didn't see it as such. He just believed that they didn't have a very strong case against him, and so they were basically trying to throw everything at the wall and see what would stick, viewing the outpatient treatment he was receiving as the prosecution's first step in discrediting him in order to win the case.
Why was he in, I assume it sounds like an intensive outpatient program. What was he going for?
For substance use disorder and mental health issues.
Sure.
That is as detailed as it got.
Okay. So nothing if it's like alcohol use disorder, cannabis use disorder, or opioid use disorder.
Mm-mm.
He's gay?
Uh-huh.
So what? K, GHB, Tina?
I mean, he lived in LA in the 90s, right? Went to college there in the 90s. Cocaine.
Yeah. I feel like maybe potentially methamphetamine use disorder sounds more likely, but what do I know?
More than I do. In November 2024, doctors who had examined Mickey to determine whether or not he was competent to stand trial were able to establish that Mickey did not understand the criminal charges against him. So the judge ruled that Mickey is unfit to stand trial.
Okay.
Mickey is loving this, though.
Yeah, Mickey's eating this up.
Yeah, his conspiracy that they're just trying to hospitalize him in order to win their case now has evolved to believing that he has found himself in yet another legal loophole. He believes that now that they are deeming him incompetent to stand trial, that he is no longer being treated as a criminal, but instead is being viewed as a, quote, nut job. His word, not mine.
How does he want to be treated?
But that is how an LA transplant found himself to be the owner of the New Yorker hotel, according only to himself. Mm-hmm. Here's the good news and the bad news, starting with the bad. That's all I have. It's not clear if he found the judge-ordered inpatient care, if he's been held in contempt of court for not doing that, or if he has been reevaluated and determined to be competent to stand trial. The good news, for our $2 supportive besties tier, we'll be doing case updates on Patreon.
Subscribe now. Don't miss what happens to Mickey.
So yeah, I just wanted to do something a little bit lighter than all of the murder, sexual abuse of a child, murder, missing people, murder that we've done lately.
We have done a lot of missing people, murder, really horrific crimes. So it is a break from this constant barrage of horror. Mickey. The entire time you were talking and telling the story, I wasn't thinking substance use. That wasn't going off in my head. But now that you say that, it makes so much more sense, right? Delusions, illogical thinking, disordered thinking, hallucinations potentially, delirium. My God. The energy required to continue this charade for so long, it would be tremendous, right? So,
which has to be why the hotel was like, just let him be.
Yeah.
Just let him stay there.
If he wouldn't have fucked around so much, I wonder how long he could have just lived in that room.
Yeah. And it's not really clear. I mean, when he checked in, it was with Matthew, but it doesn't really seem like Matthew was staying there with him, but that's not clear. I mean, what a missed opportunity, though. If my partner was like, I'm just going to live here for 5 years for the right price of $200.57, you could save so much money by living there
In one
with
of the
him.
most expensive cities in the world.
In the world, yeah.
Because $3,600 for a studio apartment is literally, I live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 13 to 1,400 foot square home, and I pay $1,425 a month. That's crazy.
Right. It's crazy.
How much are people getting paid in New York? Are they making like $10,000 a month? Because how else could you possibly afford it?
I think they're probably not living in a studio apartment alone.
No, that's true. Imagine living in a studio with someone else.
There is no break. I've seen videos of some New York City studio apartments where there's not even a door to the bathroom. Like, there's a shower and a toilet practically in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And the shower's just there.
There was a TikTok account that was like, show me your New York apartment space. And these people would get so excited and they'd be like, look, I save space by creating a bunk bed and putting a couch underneath it. And I have a very small mini fridge and a microwave. So it's like I have everything I need. And the fucking toilet is a squatty potty over a hole. And the shower is a sprinkler head attached to a wall. It's nothing.
Good for them.
And then this dude is in a fully furnished hotel room.
Paying metaphorical pennies per day.
Not metaphorical penny. He just paying nothing.
Per
no
day.
Utilities. No.
Per day, it's metaphorical pennies, which is something that you once said to somebody that was hilarious.
I do become colorful when I'm angry. I do depart from my typically joyful and soft demeanor. So
Oh, good.
it's hard to, if that happened to me, if Andrew and I were living in a hotel room and on some fucking wild contingency loophole, we had a free place to live for years on end, I would do everything to not fuck that up. I would be perfect.
Do you think that you would spend that time really grinding and making as much money as you could so that you could then just like outright buy a place of your own?
I think that would be the goal, especially if it's both of us.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
I have so many questions about like some of the logistics. Did he stay there or did he go to work? Like, was he just there all the time? Or
It's squatters' rights to a whole new level.
could he order room service? I mean, he didn't have a tab, really.
Didn't have any fucking bills to pay.
He wasn't really checked into the room. He was just granted a key by the judge because the hotel's attorney didn't show up to the hearing.
I also don't know why they refused to negotiate a deal with him.
Right.
That's so crazy.
Well.
And they let it go on for years. I need to know what led him to finally leaving the hotel, because I can't imagine he left volitionally.
I don't know.
Does it say that he was saving money and bought a house?
No, it doesn't say any of that. It says that he was at his boyfriend's on Valentine's Day and thought that he was spicing things up until he saw the female officers.
That fucking female officer really threw him off. His whole fantasy went out the window.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions surrounding this, but I still felt like it was too entertaining to pass up.
I really liked this case. It wasn't, my favorite's always going to be murder.
I know you hate when somebody doesn't die.
Yeah.
And I
But-
set it up to where you thought that maybe he would die, didn't I? At first, I said he checked in and then he didn't leave.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was just like gonna be living in the hotel killing people.
Oh.
That's where my mind went. He was the murderer.
Very H.H. Holmes.
Very, yeah. A very American Horror Story hotel.
Is that the one
Which I
with
think
Lady
is
Gaga?
based on H.H. Holmes. Yes.
Okay, I watched an episode of that with my ex, and both of us were like, no, we don't want to watch any more of this. No.
Oh, it's such a good season.
Yeah, his friends
so
loaned
good.
it to us, and then we were like, this is not for us.
What about it did you not like?
I can't even remember where there was, I don't know, there was something to do with blood, and both of us were like,
It's a lot of blood.
no.
Because they're vampires.
Oh,
Lady Gaga is a vampire.
and Matt Bomer.
Yes.
But I like other works of theirs. Like I like her music, and I like him in Magic Mike and its sequel. So it has 2 sequels actually. I didn't know that. I haven't seen the third.
I can't believe there's a second or a third.
Magic Mike Double XL. Ugh.
No.
Tips is stable. All right, say something really pithy that is gonna be a great way to send our listeners off.
Thank you for listening. What?
Okay, go again. Sorry.
Thank you for listening.
Until the next crime.
And that's all we've got for this episode. If you enjoyed listening and want to hear more, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and leave a review.
A complete list of all sources can be found in the episode description.
Recommend us to a friend. And if you are able and willing to help us produce this podcast, sign up for our Patreon.
The link to joining our supportive bestie tier on Patreon for only $2 a month is listed in the show notes. Also, make sure you're following us at End of Crime Pod on Instagram.
And our email address is endofcrimepod@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out with questions or episode suggestions.